can do. Just hope you like my nice new yard here. See? I dwell in many different cities and nations. But I like this yard. I'm going to do a quick comment on the Syria situation. As I was uploading those videos, the older ones, now I'm actually uploading some of those old New York, New Jersey visit, which I made in February. I'm at Facebook. Those of you that have seen this, some of the ones I'm uploading on Facebook every night, just some of those older videos. But I passed one up, like I don't upload every one, but I look at the title and if I remember. But the one I passed up was called Trump Press Conference. And it's only because I made that video after I watched one of the press conferences when I was in New Jersey of Trump. And what he said in that, or he made a statement, and I agreed with it. He said, because of the way the media was pushing the, quote, Trump-Russia connection, he said, honestly, and I agreed with him because I thought of it myself, he said, we'll probably never be able to, Russia is probably looking at this whole political machinations in this country and thinking we'll never be able to deal with Trump or the United States now. But when I commented on that press conference or on that statement, I tried to give a little history of why we are at a very dangerous situation. One of my actual posts that I highlight on the pages of the blog, you have individual posts, many of them, but then pages, just so people could see them. One is basically Russia, the U.S., and World War III. But why did I do that? As just some, no, because many things that have happened in the last 10 years have pushed Russia to the edge. Now, what we did yesterday, was Trump launched a missile attack in Syria, and it targeted the military base in Syria where the chemical weapons attack came from. A couple of questions that we have to be very careful of. Whenever you see, quote, a chemical weapons attack in Syria, there were also reasons that the rebel groups that are fighting Assad, there are also reasons that they have wanted also to release a chemical ban, simply so the U.S. would get engaged. And the first response I heard from Syria or Russia after the chemicals were released last week was supposedly they said it wasn't purposeful. Now, whether it was or not, I don't know, but that a military thing hit the chemicals released. Either way, I also have believed for a while that Russia is kind of on the brink with us for real reasons, and I've heard liberal analysts say the same thing. So I wanted to comment that as of today, as of now, as far as I know, I didn't hear the news until last night, but there's been no response yet. But I actually think that there's going to be a response, and it could come from various ways, because Iran, the Houthi rebels in Yemen, could also target our ships. So there's going to be a response by Russia. If there's no response, fine. Do you agree with what Trump did? We saw the pictures on TV of the children that were exposed to the chemical thing. And I know that pictures make all of us, outraged. And whether or not it was the correct thing to do, whether or not there was other things at play, maybe people are trying to manipulate, because this is what happens in what's going on in the world. Other sides try to manipulate in order to get us involved. So as of today, it's a dangerous situation, because I've heard some analysts say, even last night, well, surely Russia would not take on the U.S. And then the same analyst said, plus their economy is being crippled. One of the reasons their economy is being crippled is because we have done it. and we have done it because we felt their involvement in Crimea and the Ukraine was wrong. But some analysts said what Russia did in trying to get, and the people of Crimea, former part of Ukraine, when they voted to go back to Russia, the Russian nationalists, that was like a 90% vote. But the U.S. said no, and so we put sanctions to cripple Russia's economy because 90% of the people in Crimea wanted to go back to Russia, which you could just look at that and say, well, that doesn't make sense, John. I believe we have pushed them to the edge. Mikhail Gorbachev, the former leader, president of the Soviet Union and famous glasnost perestroika, he said the same thing a couple of years ago. And so, don't look at what's happening right now, our attack in Syria. I heard Lindsey Graham, before the attack was launched, he spoke Wednesday, I heard him on a news clip on Fox, he basically said, he's a Republican senator, sort of like, he said, yeah, we should bomb, this is before it happened, and Bill O'Reilly asked him, but what about if there's Russian troops or planes there on the ground? And he kind of blatantly said, so we'll tell them to move them. Mr. Graham, if there's a real war, Mr. McCain, I know you mean well, but if there's a real war, a hot war, a nuclear war, that leads to actual World War III, don't be so flippant in your responses like that. Because there's an arrogance, and I heard some of the commentators say, surely Russia wouldn't do anything. It's possible that there's going to be a response. Whether it's Assad says you have declared war on us and we might be arrogant and say, oh, it's fine. But there's other things happening right now that other nations are also fed up with long-term history of U.S. involvement in that part of the world, okay? Even allies, Japan and others. China said you're going to push, be careful on North Korea, you're going to push them over the edge because we do war games right off the coast. So, as of today, I'll do this real quick. I wanted you to see my new, beautiful yard. So, I wrote in old stuff there, okay? See, we have people all over the world. We have places. I have friends that live all over. The kingdom of God, you know, there's power in numbers. We got an angelic host and we got people, okay? So I'll just do this as the first video. I'm working on the teaching one, okay? God bless everybody. Pray for the situation like Mr. Trump asked last night.